Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we will discuss one more critical reasoning exercise that is designed to develop your skills for tackling the verbal ability sections of CAT and other management entrance examinations. So we will directly go to the questions. Question number one, please read the question. Please read the passage as well as the question. Options we will discuss. So first read the passage as well as the question to understand it better. All right, so the question or the passage is presenting a paradox or a contradiction to you because it says that there is a large number of there is a large drop in the number of new cars sold. Means the cars that are being sold has come down significantly due to the economic conditions in the marketplace and high taxes. So two reasons are given. One is economic problems that is affecting the market as well as the taxes. As a result of which the number of new cars sold has come down. But the paradox or the contradiction or the problem is the average price paid for a new car has risen. So normally what happens when the number of new cars sold are reduced by a large amount, what will happen? The average price per paid for a new car has to come down. By the average is calculated by the the adding of the total number of value of the total number of cars sold divided by the number of cars sold, right? So if there are 10 cars sold, then and let's say the value of each car is 1000 rupees, then 10,000, then divided by number of cars sold is 10. So 10,000 rupees should be the average value. But here the average has increased. So why this average has increased? So the question is, which of the following explains the increase in the average price of a new car? So you have a paradox in which the number of cars sold has come down significantly. Still, the average price paid for a new car has increased. So how can you explain this? So then we can examine the answers one by one. The price of used cars has climbed steadily over the past 10 years. This is an irrelevant option. Why? We are only talking about new car. So here also we are talking about new car. Here also we are talking about a new car. So the price of used car, whether the price of used car has or come down or climbed or gone up, that is irrelevant to our discussion because our discussion is limited only to the new cars, whether it is talking about the drop in the prices or the increase in the average price, it is only for a new car. So we are not at all discussing about the used car. So this is an irrelevant option. It is given only to confuse you. So you can ignore it. Option B, there will be a tax reduction later in the year, which is expected to aid moderate and low income families. So it is saying that the taxes are going to be reduced later, which will help the low income families. So how the taxation that is going to happen in the future is able to explain the increase in the average price of a paid for new car for in the last year. We are talking about the last year here. So whereas the option is talking about a tax deduction in the future, and that too, it is not talking about cars. It might be a general tax deduction. So how the general tax reduction that might be applicable for some other items, or whether it is applicable for cars, we don't know. So how that is going to happen in the year in future is going to explain the increase in the price of an average car of a new car. That is again not reasonable. We cannot make the connection. There is no logic to connect these two things, so we can ignore this. Option C, the market for expensive cars has been unaffected by the current economic conditions. So you have to consider this option. Why? Because it is talking about directly about the expensive car. So here what they are saying, we know that the total number of cars sold has come down, but the option says that out of which the expensive car market has not been affected. Means that out of the total number of cars, the expensive cars will be there, inexpensive cars or the cheap cars will be there. So the average price of a new car will be obtained by adding up the prices of all the expensive plus inexpensive cars sold divided by the total number of cars sold. So if the number of inexpensive cars have come down, and the number of expensive cars are remaining the same, what will happen? The total value, the numerator for an average price will be the total. So the total will come down. Why? Because the number of cars, the inexpensive cars has come down. So the total, there will be a reduction because the higher number of inexpensive cars will be sold, right? In any market, the higher number of inexpensive cars will be sold, lower number of expensive cars will be sold. So in this scenario, the lower number remains the same, the higher number has come down. So the total price will come down, and the denominator will be the total number of new cars, and the total number of new cars will come down significantly because of that reduction in the number of uh, inexpensive cars. So what will happen? In such a case, the average is, there is a possibility of the average going up. Why? The expensive car market is still unaffected, means the total number of expensive cars will be the same, the price of the expensive cars will also be the same. It will, the inexpensive cars only will be affected. So there is a possibility that the average is going to be increased because the expensive car market is not affected at all. So that part in the numerator as well as in the denominator for calculating the average will be unaffected. So you can explain, or you can think about this by taking an example. Let's say there are 10 number of in a normal circumstances, let us say there are 10 number of inexpensive cars sold with a price of 2000 per car, and 5 number of expensive cars sold with a price of 10,000 per car. So let's think about a scenario like this. So what will happen? The total number of cars will be 15, and the total value will be 20,000, right? No, this is total number of cars is 15, total number will be 50,000 plus 20,000, because here 10 into 2,000, 20,000, 5 into 10,000, 50,000. So 70,000 divided by 15. 70,000 divided by 15 will be coming to around 4.40 point something, right? 40 point something. So for 70,000, let's say 15 fours are 600, 15 fives are 15 fours are 60, so 15 fives are 75. So it is 4 point something here, let's say 4 point, and then you add 3 or multiply by 30, so it will come to around 400 rupees, right? 4,000 rupees, sorry, 15 fours are 15 for 60,000, right? So 4,000 rupees, 40,000, 4,000, let's say 4,200 or rupees will be the average price of a car. Now, so, imagine a scenario in which this number has come down to half. Let's say 5 cars are sold here. So what will be the total? 5 into 2,000 is 10,000. Here it is remains the same. Expensive cars remains the same. So 50,000 plus 10,000 is 60,000 divided by 10, 60,000 divided by 10, then around 6,000, right? So see, the average price has increased. So just because the number expensive car market has remained the same means the average price is increasing. So this is a possibility that explains the increase in the average price. So this is a possible answer. Option D, economic conditions are expected to get significantly worse before the end of the year. So again, this is talking about the future. We have to think about an explanation for what happened in the past. So this future scenario is not going to help us. Option E, due to the economic depression, government has recently decided to increase the taxes of non-essential items like cars steeply. So what will happen if the taxes of non-essential items like cars are increased? What will happen? The value of a car will definitely go up. So even if the number has come down, if the value has gone down, what will happen? The numerator will increase. So when the numerator increases and the denominator decreases, maybe there is a chance that the average also will increase. So this is a possible scenario where when taxes are increased by the government to compensate for the revenue shortage, what will happen? The average price of a new car is going to increase. Definitely that is a possibility. But what is the problem here? It is done recently. See, the government has recently decided. So this is applicable only henceforth, or this is applicable for any sales that are going to take place after the decision has been taken. Well, we are discussing about the last year, not the current year, last year. This decision is a recent one. So because of this decision being a recent one, this is not going to explain why the average price of a car increased in the last year. So again, not an answer. So option C is the best answer available to you. That will explain why the price of an average new car increased even though the number of new cars sold has come down. So this is option C will be your answer. Okay, go to the next one. All right, the passage is talking about sales seminars conducted by outside consultants. So it is not an in-house seminar. It is done by outside consultants are conducting sales seminars for FMCG companies. What are FMCG companies? Fast-moving consumer goods like your soaps, detergents, shampoos, cosmetic items. So these are all displayed in the counters of supermarket which have a very low shelf life. Shelf life means the period during which they will be remaining in the shelf is a shelf life. So because they are fast moving, because they are quickly purchased by customers, because they are most sought after items, they have a very low shelf life, so they are called fast moving consumer goods. So in the fast moving consumer goods industry, as per the question, after 2020 there were some seminars conducted by outside consultants, and many FMCG company officials participated in these seminars, but the revenue of these companies did not improve after the seminar. They were lower than the revenues of FMCG companies whose employees did not attend. So this is the key point here. The key point is that the low revenues, why they should attend these seminars in order to maximize the revenue or to increase the revenue, but the revenues were lower than the revenues of companies whose employees did not attend the seminar. This is the fact given. And what is the conclusion, or what is the critic? But what the critics are saying based on this fact, they say that these seminars are ill-conceived and a waste of money. They are not designed correctly, and they are thus not effective. They are a waste of money. This is the criticism. Now, what is your question? Your question is to find a weakness in the criticism. Casting a doubt on the criticism means you have to find a weakness in the criticism. So in simple terms, you have to find a statement that points that this criticism may not be a valid criticism. So what is the basis for this criticism? The sales did not improve, or the sales were lower than the sales of other FMCG companies whose employees did not attend the seminar. So you have to find a statement that might point out to a weakness, or that casts a doubt on the criticism. So option A, those FMCG companies whose sales were highest prior to 2020 are the only companies that did not send employees to the seminars. Means what? All the companies whose employees did not attend the seminars, their sales were highest prior to 2020. Means after 2020, the sales of these companies also came down. So we know that the sales of FMCG companies whose employees did not attend the seminars were higher than the sales of companies whose employees attended the seminar. Now here we have an option which says that yes, they were higher, but still the sales were lower than the sales before 2020. So what is the ultimate meaning of this? Ultimate meaning is that after 2020, the sales of all FMCG's companies have come down. So it is not just the FMCG companies whose employees attended, who attended the seminars. For all the FMCG companies whose employees did not attend the seminars, there also the sales have come down. So what you can deduce, it may probably be not because of the seminars that this thing has happened. Maybe there was a downtrend, or there was a slowdown in the FMCG industry, as a result of which the sales came down. So it may not be a problem due to the sales seminars. It may be a problem with some other things. So we know that the sales were still higher than the sales of the companies whose employees did not attend the seminars after 2020 were higher than the sales of the companies whose employees attended. So this increase might be due to the extra in expenditure they had to incur in the seminars. Maybe we don't know. So that if aspects you need that aspect you need not consider, because we are only talking about sales. So we are not talking about expenses. So we can what we can say is that after 2020, there was a reduction in the sales of all FMCG companies, not just the companies whose employees attended the seminars. Even for the companies whose employees attended the seminar, there was a reduction in the sales. So this could be because of some other thing. So it need not be because of the uh, sales seminar. So the basis for the criticism is that the revenue came down. So revenue was lower than the revenues of FMCG companies. So this revenue reduction may not be because of the sales seminar. So this is why it is casting a doubt on the criticism. It is not very clearly weakening, it is casting a doubt. So this is a probable answer. Keep it in your mind. Option B, FMCG companies that have sent employees to sales seminars since 2020 experienced a greater drop in sales than they had prior to that year. What is the meaning? Before 2020, they might have had a drop in sales, but after 2020 their sales drop was much higher. So what we can think about it by connecting the passage plus this, you see, when you are talking about one option, you need not consider the information in other options. Options are standalone entities, so don't confuse this option or don't mix the information in this option with this one. You only have to mix the information that is given to you in the passage plus the information in the option that you are considering for the time being. So we are thinking about the passage as well as option B. So from the passage, we know that the FMCG companies whose employees attended the seminars, their sales went down after 2020. But and the option says that their sales went down faster than the sales drop before 2020. So it is actually reinforcing whatever is stated in the passage. So when you have some option that strengthens the fact that is stated in the passage, it definitely strengthens the conclusion. So here it is strengthening our conclusion that the sales seminars are not very effective. So it is not our answer. We need something that weakens or casts a doubt on our conclusion. Option C, the cost of FMCG sales seminars run by outside consultants has risen dramatically since 2020. So here it says that the cost has increased after 2020. Yes, the cost might have increased. That our question is not whether the cost has increased after 2020 or not. Our question is whether it is effective or not. The criticism is that these are not effective and hence a waste of money. It is not because it is expensive, it is a waste of money. It is because a waste of money because they are not designed correctly. Since they are not designed correctly, they are not effective, and because of which it is a waste of money. Just because you say that the cost has increased dramatically, this cannot mean that they are effective or they are going to be useful. So this is not going to cast a doubt. So not your answer. Option D, the poor design or sales seminar is not the only reason for their ineffectiveness. What does it mean? This option also implies that they are ineffective, but it is not just because of the design. The critics are saying that these seminars are designed in and not in a professional manner. They are poorly designed, as a result of which they are ineffective. Option D says that the poor design is not the only reason, because so it means that some other reason is also there for their ineffectiveness. So what it is doing, this option is effectively admitting that the sales seminars are ineffective, and the reason is not just because of design, it may be some other thing. So this is actually supporting the criticism, it is not weakening the criticism. So not your answer. Option E, since 2020 sales of FMCG products have risen by nearly 20%. Means what? The total FMCG product sales have gone up, still the company sales have gone down. So there must be a reason for that. So as per the passage, the reason is the sales seminar. So this is also supporting the criticism, it is not weakening the criticism, because when the industry as a whole witnesses an increase in the revenue, all the companies should normally witness an increase in the revenue, but the FMCG companies whose employees attended the sales seminar, they are not witnessing that revenue growth, means the sales seminars are responsible indirectly. So that is why this option is not also supporting the criticism, not weakening it. So the only option which is casting a doubt on the criticism is option A, because it says that there could be other reason for the decline in the sales. It might be an industry-wide phenomenon. It need not necessarily be because of the sales seminar. So it is casting a doubt on the criticism. So option A should be your answer. So I hope this is clear. The third question. So it says that informed people are generally not going to depend on one source to form an opinion. They generally form their opinions by taking in information from divergent sources, means different sources. They assimilate, means collect the information, only then they form opinions. So that is why news organizations, when they depend only on the foreign ministry to report the events that are happening place in a foreign country like Bangladesh, these are not going to be balanced. They should try to find alternative sources of information. So first, the passage talks about a general principle, means when you need to form an opinion, it should be based on divergent sources of information. You should not be following only one source of information. So that is why news organizations, when they report events that are happening place in Bangladesh, they should not blindly, or they should not follow only the foreign ministry sources. They should be following some, or they should try to find alternative sources of information. So this is the essence. Now, which of the inferences can be drawn from the argument? What is an inference? Inference is an idea that is supported, or that is pointed to by the facts given in the passage. It is something that you can reasonably deduce, or from the facts given in the passage is called an inference. So here all inferences should be supported by the facts given. So that is the basic premise of an inference. So first, so we have to examine each option and check whether these are supported by the facts. Option A, to the degree that a news source gives an account of another country that mirrors that of our foreign ministry, that reporting is suspect. What is the meaning? It says that as long as the news organization is reporting something that is given out by the foreign ministry, that reporting is doubtful. See, the a passage is not saying that you should not follow the foreign ministry sites, or whatever information is given out by the foreign ministry, you should not follow. It says that you should try to endeavor to find alternative sources of information. So you can accept the foreign ministry information, at the same time you have to find alternative sources of information. Only then what happens? The divergent sources, that only then you get information from different sources before forming opinion. Because when you base your opinion on by with information only from one single source, that may not be a balanced information. So that is why, in order to make your opinion balanced, you have to find divergent sources. Whereas this option says that as long as you follow only one source of information, that information is wrong or doubtful. That is not implied in the passage. It does not say that whatever information given by the foreign ministry is doubtful or suspect. So this is why this option is not a good inference. Option B, to protect their integrity, news media should avoid the influence of foreign ministry press releases in their coverage. Again, what is saying, it is saying that the foreign ministry, whatever foreign ministry press releases are given, these are not correct. That is why the option says that to protect the integrity, news media should avoid the influence. Means they should not be following, or they should not be blindly accepting the foreign ministry releases. So what it is giving you, it is saying that these foreign ministry press releases are incorrect, and that is why when any news media follows them, their integrity will be lost. So again, it is casting a doubt on the authenticity of the information given by foreign ministry, whereas option is passage is not saying that. Passage is that in order to make your opinion balanced, you have to collect information from different sources. That's all. It does not say that the information from one source is bad or the information from other source is good. No, that is not stated in the passage. So this again is not a good inference. A good inference should be supported by the facts. Option C, reporting that is not influenced by the foreign ministry is usually more accurate. Again, what is the problem here? It says that any information that is given by the foreign ministry is not accurate. That is why the option says that reporting that is not influenced by the foreign ministry is usually more accurate than other accounts. Again, the option is telling us that the foreign ministry information is not correct. Again, wrong. That is not stated in the passage. Option D, the alternative sources of information mentioned in the passage would probably not share the same views. Yes, that is why divergent sources. Divergent means different sources. You get different information, which may not be the correct, the same, so that your opinion will be a balanced opinion. This is the meaning. So that is why in reporting, news organizations might endeavor to find alternate sources. Means when the alternate sources of information sometimes may not have the same information that the foreign ministry is giving, so that you get different divergent sources and divergent information, which will make your opinion balanced. That is what informed people do. So that is why alternative source of information would probably not share. It is not saying that definitely will be different. It says a probably not share. So this is correct. That is why it is called divergent source. So probably not share the same way. So that is why the divergent view means different information. So it may not be the same. It may be the same. So that is why there is a probability. So again, a good answer. So keep it in your mind. Option E, a report can be seen as influenced by the foreign ministry if it accurately depicts the event. So what is stated here, this is contrary to option C. Option C says that any information given by the foreign ministry will be inaccurate. Option E is saying that any information given by the foreign ministry will be accurate. So that also need not be true. Foreign ministry may be giving accurate information, may not be giving accurate information. We don't know. So that is why this option is also not correct. The passage, what the passage is saying, that you need to get divergent sources of information so that your opinion becomes balanced. This is what informed people do. So all news organizations, if they want to be impartial and they need to protect their integrity, they need to find alternative source of information instead of following only one source of information. That is the only idea given in the passage. It never says that the information given by one source of information will be wrong or good or correct or bad, anything like that. So that is, that kind of qualification is not there in the passage. So that is why any option that qualifies the information given by the foreign ministry is wrong. You need to find a better answer. Option D is that answer, which gives you the correct inference based on the information or based on the facts given in the passage. So option D will be your inference. All right, question number 4. A light bulb company is producing 2000 light bulbs in a week, and the manager wants to maintain the quality throughout. He needs to ensure that the quality is remaining consistent. So what he decides that out of 2000 bulbs produced, he is going to reject 500 bulbs. This is the decision. So now what is your question? The best criticism of the manager's plan is that the plus. So what is the weakness in the plan? that in essential means in effect, or in simple terms, this option or this question is manager's plan. The best criticism of the manager's plan is that the plan assumes that. So what is the assumption that the manager is making which makes this plan a bad plan, or which makes this decision a bad decision? So what is the assumption which the manager is making that is making the decision and a bad decision? We know that from the basics, we know that any decision or conclusion will have facts, inferences, assumptions. So these are the three things that are there in a decision making process. You have facts, you have inferences, you have assumptions. On the basis of these three, you make a decision. So the manager has made a decision. In that, what is the assumption which is a wrong assumption or a weak assumption that makes this decision a bad decision? That is the question. Option A, light bulb manufacturers cannot accept all light bulbs that are produced. So the managers wants to maintain the quality. For that, he decides to reject 500 bulbs. So what is he is assuming that if you accept all the bulbs, then probably some quality problem will be there. So this assumption is also a good assumption. The manager is assuming that manufacturer cannot accept all light bulbs. So probable answer option B, the overall quality of the light bulbs would not be improved if the total number of light bulbs produced are reduced. Means a reduction in production will not improve the quality. So here is the manager assuming that the reduction in production will not improve the quality? The manager has neither decided to increase the production, or the manager is not assuming that. What the manager is assuming? The manager is assuming that when you reject a part of the production, it will improve the quality. Whether the quality will not be improved with the reduction in the production, that is not assumed by the manager, because the manager is not thinking about any reduction in the production. Manager is only thinking about rejecting a part of the production. So whether reduction in the production will improve the quality or will not improve the quality, what is the manager's view on that, we don't know, because the manager is not at all making a decision regarding the production reduction. So that is why this option need not be considered. Option C, each light bulb that is rejected deserves to be rejected. So what is the meaning? The manager is thinking that if I reject 500 light bulbs, all the defective light bulbs will be in these 500. So this is correct. The manager is assuming that whatever he is reducing or rejecting, that is something that has some defect and it needs to be rejected. So this also is an assumption. So keep it in your mind. Good assumption. Option D, it is difficult to judge the quality of a light bulb. If the manager thinks that it is difficult to judge the quality, why should he reject these 500 light bulbs? He can accept all the light bulbs. So this is why this is not an assumption made by the manager. Option E, the 1500 light bulbs that are accepted will be of the same quality from week to week. Yes. So the manager is assuming that if I accept 1500, they will be of good quality, and the good quality will remain consistently the same from every week. So the what is the objective of this rejection? To make the quality consistent from week to week. So his assumption is that the out of the 1500 light bulbs that are accepted will be of the same quality from week to week. This assumption is also made by the manager. So which is the assumption that is the best weakness of this decision, or the most important weakness? Most important weakness, option E, right? Because yes, he is assuming that that is true. So that assumption is making him to think about this assumption that some things have to be rejected, and that assumption is making it to think about this rejection, that if I reject 500 light bulbs, though those 500 light bulbs will be of defective quality and the 1500 light bulbs are good quality, and most importantly every week this will be the same. That is what he is assuming. Maybe in 1 week it might be by mere chance he might be rejecting the 500 light bulbs that are actually faulty, so that deserve to be rejected. But what is the guarantee that the same thing will happen the next week also? There is no guarantee. No, that is the weakness in the decision, because the manager assumes that every week when I am rejecting 500 light bulbs, all the defective light bulbs will be included in that 500. So every week the 1500 light bulbs that I am accepting, they will be of the best quality, so that my quality remains consistent. So this assumption cannot happen sometimes, or most of the times this need not happen. So that is the best weakness, or the most important weakness in the manager's decision. This is definitely a weakness. This option A is a weakness, option C is a weakness, option E is the best weakness, which is the best criticism, because he assumes that every week when I reject 500 light bulbs, all the defective light bulbs will be included in that 500, and I will get the best light bulbs in the remaining 1500 week after week. This can never happen, because the law of probability says that this will not happen. So that is why this is the best criticism for the uh, decision. So this assumption is the best criticism that you can make regarding the weakness in the manager's decision. So option E will be your answer, not option A. This will not be this option. So this is again a very tricky question. You need to analyze it very carefully. Options, there are multiple correct answers, out of which the best answer is option E. So I hope you have got the technique and the way we have arrived at the answer. If you have found the content to be useful, please like, share, and subscribe, so that I get more viewership. That will motivate me to come out with further videos. Any questions or any comments you have regarding the videos, you are free to put it in the comment box. I will try to answer your queries and comments. And thank you for watching. Thank you. Bye bye.